Well, it's like time stood still. Today's performance against Gillingham was like the Jack Ross of old. Has much changed under the guidance of Phil Parkinson from the Jack Ross days? Possibly because it's the same side. So yet again, Sunderland have squandered a lead. Sunderland have finished the day in the FA Cup first round. Sunderland won, Gillingham won. And like I said before, it's just like time stood still. Nothing's changed with the same old side. We go in at half time 1-0 up, and we come out and we let a goal in straight away and we end up drawing. What is the point of a 1-1 draw? It is the worst possible result. I'd rather get beat than draw ones apiece. Another game on the cards. Luckily, the game against Bristol Rovers has been postponed, so this one might just fit in nicely. But I did say we need a result today. We needed a result. A draw is awful. Let's face it, right? We started the game 4-2-3-1. This has to be the worst combination, the worst formation. I cannot stand 4-2-3-1, especially at home, especially in the FA Cup. We'll get away with it against Southend in the league when we need to get the points, so we need to grind out a result. I still don't like it, but today in the FA Cup, it's nothing to lose at all. We may as well have played 4-4-2 with McGeady. 4-4-2 with McNulty and Grigg up front and just gone for it. Or 4-4-2 with Grigg and 09 up front. And like I said before, just go for the glut of goals. Go for the goals. Win 3 or 4-0. Otherwise, the back door gets left open, we get beat. Whatever it is, it won't be a draw. We needed to go. Today was the day to try and change the formations. Stop sticking to the old 4-2-3-1. 4-2-3-1 under Jack Ross. 4-2-3-1 under Phil Parkinson. Either both managers know the squad is nowhere near good enough and not capable of playing 4-4-2. Or we're getting like for like. Which has been a real waste of time, hasn't it? So it's finished ones apiece and started the day with McLaughlin in goal, McLaughlin at right back, DeBuck came in at left back. Then the Willis combination with the Willis and the Lynch combination. Good central defensive partnership. Can't really put those at fault today at all. Then we got Dobson and Power again, much a like for like kind of central midfield and partnership. Then we got 09, Maguire, McGeady, and up front Will Grigg. We scored within the first 15 minutes. It was a poor keeping from there. McGeady had the shot, went under the keeper. End of the day, you shoot, you score. If you don't shoot, you don't score. So McGeady put us 1-0 up, and just before half-time, Maguire had a fantastic opportunity to go 2-0 up. If we put that ball in the back of the net, just like against Rotherham, and we missed the penalty, McGeady missed the penalty, and we could have gone 2-0 up, that game would have been 3 points in my mind, and we probably would have gone through with the FA Cup second round today. But he squanders the chance just before half-time. And what happens after half-time? We come out. John McLaughlin makes a right bollocks. And we let a goal in. So it wasn't the defender's fault. So it's one's apiece. We had a couple of chances towards the end. 09 comes sliding in and just couldn't reach the ball. And McGeady, to his due, great shot. But a fantastic save from their goalkeeper. World-class save to keep Gillingham in a minute. And now we've got to go all the way down, to Gillingham in Kent and play them in a couple of weeks' time in a game we don't really need, we don't really want, we could do without. We may as well have gone, as the saying is, shit or bust, and just gone for it today. Gone for it. A load of goals. High scoring game. Instead of 1-0 coming out and we squander our chances. So today I'm going to do a player ratings of the season so far. So I'm going to start with the goalkeepers. I'm going to start with the keeper that was in goal today, John McLaughlin. He was fantastic last season, a really good keeper. He's either lost a bit of confidence this season or his mind isn't on the game because he's made 1 or 2 really costly errors this season. Distribution has been really poor. Great for shot stopping, great for coming out for crosses, but for me, he's been way off the pace this season, and I'm only going to give John McLaughlin a 5 for this season so far. So that's my rating on John McLaughlin. I think he can do a hell of a lot better, and I wish him all the best. I hope he does come through this bad patch he's having, and he gets his goalkeeping skills. He might even be on the decline. We don't know. He's in his 30s now. Is he past his best, or is he still going to be able to hold that kind of great goalkeeping skills that he had last season? But this season, It's way off the pace. But it's just as good. We've got a good replacement in Lee Burge. Excuse me. Now, Lee Burge, to me, this season, has done absolutely nothing wrong. He's one of the best buys we've getting this season and one of the best players we've brought in by far. The two Carabao Cup matches against Premier League sides, he was absolutely fantastic. Distribution's good, shot stopping's good. He made a great save. I think it was against Tranmere, and when he made that save, I think it was a 3-0. He was absolutely over the moon to keep a clean sheet. He was giving it all this. Good fingertip save, hit the bar and went out. But Lee Burge did nothing wrong. And then the match where he got injured, he went off, I think it was at half time. I'm not sure if it was a thigh injury, and he's been struggling ever since. But he's back on the subs bench today, so he must be back to his best fitness wise. Another week or so, and I think he'll be spot on for me, coming straight back into the side. I think Lee Burge has done nothing wrong at all, and for me he's getting the top marks of all the Sunderland players in the Sunderland football kit at this moment in time. I'm giving him an 8. Lee Burge, absolutely brilliant. He's only getting an 8 because he hasn't played a load of games this season, so we can't really judge him. We can judge him on he's had 3 or 4 fantastic games, done nothing wrong whatsoever. He played against Grimsby, let a couple of goals in there, but it wasn't really his fault. That was in the Leazers Cup match. So I'm giving him an 8. He's getting a good rating of 8. And for me, Lee Burge is one of the best buys that actually Stuart Donald has brought in to Sunderland Football Club this season. So there you go, Lee Burge an 8, and poor John McLaughlin only gets a 5 at this moment in time. So next we're going to have the two backs, the right back and the left back. So I'm going to go with the left back at this moment in time. I'm going to go with a player that started off a bit slow at the beginning of the season, but has come really good and come on strong, and his distribution, the crosses for the forward line, getting the ball into the box it's getting better and better and better. A young man, Denver Hume, is improving loads this season, and I know it's difficult having to rely on such a young lad, but I think he's doing a fantastic job, and in the last few games he's been one of our better players by a long way. It's unfortunate he wasn't playing today. I don't know whether he was injured today or just rested today. If anybody out there knows, please leave a comment down in the sections. I'm going to give Denver Hume, because of his slow start, but he's coming on strong and there's room for improvement. I'm giving Denver Hume a 7 so far this season. I think he's doing a fantastic job at left back. A really good, really, for me, he's our first choice left back by a million miles. And all he needs now is to get more help. When he goes forward, it's really difficult to be asked to attack, and defend at the same time. He needs more help, more backup from the likes of Aidan McGeady. That's what he needs, or whoever's there to replace Aidan McGeady. He needs to come in and perform. Denver Hume could make it at left mid all day long. Absolutely fantastic young man, great asset to the club, and he's coming on leaps and bounds. And he could, the second part of the season, he could be one of the ones that really make it for Sunderland Football Club. So I'm giving him a 7 at this moment in time, but that could easily rise to a 9 as the season goes on. Now our other left back, I don't know much about. I'm going to call him Debok, but he has been a bit of a crock over his a lot of injuries. I mean, I don't want to disrespect anybody. I don't want to be bad about anybody who gets injuries, because it's awful. I've had my fair share of injuries myself. You get an injury, it takes ages to get over, especially your hamstrings. Hamstrings are a nasty injury to get, especially in football. You're doing sprints, you're stopping and starting. You cool down, you warm up. It's really hard to stay injury free when you're injury prone. So, I do wish, LeBrock all the best in the future. I don't see anybody get injured, but he's been injury prone. And why are we why are we getting low-knee players in who are constantly going to be injured? I know they're only coming to Sunderland Football Club from the Championship to the League One because they're injured, and that's the risk you take. But surely we can get another left back in who's not going to be injured. Now, he played today. It wasn't fantastic today, but what do you expect? If he's always injury prone, he's never going to get any better. So for me, at this moment in time, while he's been injury prone, and I don't think he did have a first decent game, he hasn't been fantastic. So I'm going to be not too overly generous with LeBrock. Lawrence LeBrock. I wish you all the best. I hope you do improve as the season goes on, and you're going to make a good cover for Denver Hume. We want to see all our players stay fit, regardless who they are. Next is our right back. I'm only going to give it as one right back because I'm going to make Luke O'Nien as the midfielder. So the right back is Conor McLaughlin. We all know about Conor McLaughlin. He's got his fair share of his stick at Sunderland football since he's come in. He's been asked to do all sorts. He's been coming as a central defender when he had the two wing backs at the start of the season. He's been even put at left back. He's been put at right back. He's been all over the shop and he's been in and out of the squad. A player needs to stay, if he's fit, fully fit, and he's been brought in to do a job. I mean, this guy was in, a couple of seasons ago, the league, the team of the League One team of the season. Conor McLaughlin was there, and he's been in the Championship, and he plays really good football for Ireland. Had a fantastic game. I think it was either against Germany, Holland, a few games ago, for his country. So he has the potential to be a really good right back, and we need to keep playing this bloke. I know his distribution going forward hasn't been fantastic, but he's brought in the defenders, and I want to see defenders in there to defend first. First and foremost, you keep a clean sheet like we didn't do it today. You keep a clean sheet and you win a game of football. We score goals. Some football club scores goals. We scored a goal today. Keep a clean sheet, we win. Simple as. We can't, people letting big mistakes in games, costly big mistakes like John McLaughlin today, you can't compensate for. You can't predict that kind of scenario. But if your defenders can constantly do good work, good jobs, they'll be all right. And I mean, I don't think Conor McLaughlin, he's made one or two mistakes, yes. But he needs to play a game in, week out, and constantly play games to get used to the system they're playing, get used to the other defenders, and basically to keep him match fit. And he will improve. Anybody in the 20s at that kind of age will improve with experience and more games. For me, Conor McLaughlin has got to stay in that side unless he becomes a real liability, but I don't think he will. So for me, Conor McLaughlin, there's improvement to come. I'm only going to give you a 6. I just bit me gum and I feel like I'm bleeding already. Strange. Never bite your gum. It's not good for you. There you go. 6 to Conor McLaughlin. I'll keep him in the side. I think he's going to get better as the season goes on, as long as he gets matches. He needs matches and needs to be in the side all the time. So there's my right back and left back. Now we're going to go to the central defensive players next. We're going to start off with Jordan Willis. Now Jordan Willis for me is up there with Lee Burge as one of the purchases of the season. Jordan Willis, not the tallest player, but he has a bit of pace about him. And he also could be captain. He demands his area. He controls. He competes really well. He scored a good header against Portsmouth as well early on in the season. His all-round play is really good. Jordan Willis for me. I'm not going to give him the highest marks of the day, but he's going to be a close second. I'm going to give Jordan Willis a 7. I think he's doing a good job, and I think he can still get better. He can become a leader. We want more leaders on the pitch. I know Max Powers, the captain, has been the captain, led better. But for me, Jordan Willis can step up to the plate and become Sunderland's captain in the future. He can become a leader on the pitch. And he's one of the main players in our backbone of our squad. We need to keep fit and need to keep in the side. Jordan Willis for me. Potentially, he could be a 9 by the end of the season as well. He's been solid. And that's all you can ask for players. A bit of pace, a bit of solid, a bit of leadership. So me, Jordan Willis, well done so far this season. Everybody makes mistakes and you've made a few mistakes yourself, but you've been one of the better players in our side this season. Right, so next, we're going to go to Lynch. Joel Lynch. Big, central defensive unit he is. He's a big brick shithouse, even though I don't like using that saying. Don't like to swear me channel anymore. But he's a big bloke. He's tattooed all over. He looks hard as nails. And he's coming into his own at this moment in time. I didn't particularly think I had a fantastic game against Grimsby in the cup match. And I don't know why, for the life of me, why we're playing the likes of Willis and Lynch in these kind of cup matches. I know that he didn't play against, I think it was less during the week. But he's a kind of player who had another solid game today. He's had a lot of solid games. He's made 1 or 2 mistakes, and I think if you overplay someone who's been injury prone as well, he's likely to pick up another injury. So for me, Phil Patterson needs to play him in the league matches. Forget about the cup matches with the likes of Lynch. Give him a rest in the cup match. And 1 game a week for me, for the likes of Lynch. Keep him fit, keep him sharp, keep him hungry. Again, another leader. We want to see more from Lynch. Barking out instructions, leading from the back. Him and Willis going to be a fantastic central defensive partnership this season. So I'm only going to give Lynch a 6. At the end of the day, he hasn't played every single match so far this season. And he's between a 6 and a 7. He's just behind Willis. A 6 and a 7 for me. Not brilliant, but he's not bad. But he has been, he has been good without being exceptional. Now, is it a 6 or is it a 7? I'm toying for which one. And for Willis, I was kind of thinking 7 or 8, but I don't want to be over the top. They've got to have room to improve for the season. So I'll give Lynch a 7. And again, the mistakes are slowly being ironed out. Now we just need Lee Burge back and goal, so less mistakes from the keeper. And we, like against Tranmere, we had a solid clean sheet, solid, even against Southend. I know John McLaughlin wasn't against Southend, but Southend for me weren't a fantastic side going on the offensive. So there we go, that's the central defensive. I'm going to put one more in there just for a laugh. I'm going to go Ozturk, only on what he's played so far this season. And for me, I do like Ozturk. And again, Ozturk is kind of between 6s and 7s. When he was fit at the start of the season, didn't do a bad job. But he's been injured a while and his hamstrings played up again, I think it was, during the bit against Leicester. So he could be out for a little while now. So that's the central defensive partnership. And I'm going to give one more to another one, Flanagan. Tom Flanagan, my old matey, Flappy Flanagan. I only say Flappy Flanagan because he just seems a bit unorthodox of clearing the ball. It's like legs and arms everywhere. It just seems a bit like Flappy. That's the way it looks at me. Distribution isn't fantastic. Getting rid of the ball isn't fantastic. He does score goals with his head. And he does do a solid job, but not near good enough to be in our central defensive 2 at this moment in time. So he comes in with a 5. So there you go. There's our central defensive, the whole partnership, the whole defensive situation and the keeper situation at this moment in time. What do you think? If you have anything different to say from me, leave your comments down below in the comment section. Much appreciated. Right, so next we're going to go into central midfield partnerships at this moment in time, or central midfield players at this moment in time. Max Power. For me, Max Power has improved this season from the back end of last season. I don't know exactly what his role is. He's captain. He's captain. But for me, I want to see Max Power going forward more and helping the forward line. When he's been going forward this season, he's scored some absolutely fantastic goals, some brilliant goals, Max Power. And that's been absolutely brilliant. But for me, I want to see him being more of a leader, going more forward and trying, give more chances to help the forward line, especially when you're playing 2-4-3-1. I want to see players like Max Power, who has the potential to help Will Grigg unlock the goal and score goals. He has the potential to help Will Grigg, and I see more from Max Power going forward. But Max Power so far has been solid, and I'm going to give Max Power, a generous 7 at this moment in time, just for the couple of really good goals he scored, and trying to step up to the plate. He's trying to do his bit. I think he's doing a half decent job at this moment in time, but I just want to see him go forward more to help the forward line. Next we have Dobson. Dobson went through a patch where he picked up a lot of yellow cards early on in games. Now I think he stopped doing that, but is Dobson the kind of player who was brought in as a box-to-box player, ex-captain of Walsall? Is he the player to help go forward, or is he a player to sit back on Max Power? Or do they both work together and take turns, one going forward and one sitting back there, another one going forward, so the opposition don't know who's going to break out of midfield? For me, that sounds like a good idea. And I'm just thinking on the spot here. For me, Dobson, get yourself forward, Max Power stay back and defend, and just swap and change. Dobson hasn't done too badly. I think he's just been a little bit behind Max Power at this moment in time, but Power's had more games, and Dobson hopefully will grow being a younger player, and he's got the hunger. He's a bit unorthodox the way he holds himself. It's clear. It's almost like a dinosaur run, but it is kind of like an unorthodox run. But he's a lovely lad. He's going to be a great footballer as he gets stronger and stronger. And for me, I think as he learns from other players and from the manager, he will grow as a footballer. And I'm giving a 6 at this moment in time, but potentially he could go up. I would say 6.5 to 7 for Dobson. He could get better and better, and he could be a 9 by the end of the season. I want to start to see more from Dobson, being a young player. The hunger, the desire, the want. Get yourself in there. That's what we need, but less of the yellow cards. So well done, Dobson and Power at this moment in time. Well, we need more from the rest of the team. So one of our better creative players last season was Aidan McGeady, and there's no denying. On his day, he's absolutely fantastic. And last season, for me, was a cut above League One, more like a championship player. And some of the goals were brilliant. And even at the start of the season, that goal against, was it Accrington Stanley, where he just ran through the defence? Or it might have been Rochdale. I think it was, I'm not sure which one it was now. But he ran from the halfway line and he scored a class goal. So he has there in his locker to be brilliant. But since Jack Ross has gone, I know him and Jack Ross were close friends. So I don't know what's gone on since then. I don't know if he's a big. Now, does somebody fall out? Does somebody go in the huff like that? Who's friends with a manager, really close friends with a manager, then the manager gets sacked and goes. Does the player go in his shell a little bit? I know he loves it up here. His family's settled. So why would you want to do that? I don't know. I'm just speaking for what I'm seeing on the pitch. He hasn't been great. He scored a goal today and he made a great goal. Almost scored a great goal towards the end, but a brilliant fingertip save from the Gillingham goalkeeper. Now, the few games I've seen him in, it doesn't help Hume very much. He needs to do more work. He's in his 30s now. Has he got the legs to do that extra work? Is he on there as a luxury player who can create these chances and almost score goals? He doesn't go down the wing to cross the ball over. He cuts inside and goes for the shot. But we need to see more from him to help Hume out. Hume needs more help. And I want to see more from McGeady. He needs to run his absolute socks off. So for me, at this moment in time, McGeady's only getting a 6 from past performances, you know, and even a 5.5 to 6. Is that not being generous enough, or is that about fair? About 5.5 to 6 for McGeady. I want to see more helping other teammates, more teamwork, and less of the needless yellow cards. He picked up a couple of yellow cards just for, you know, just being daft, to be honest. So we need more from Aidan McGeady. Aidan McGeady needs to step up to the plate. Or for me, he goes to the subs bench. Now, Chris Maguire. We all love Chris Maguire, the King Maguire. Now, he blows hot and cold, doesn't he? He has some absolutely fantastic games. He scores some absolutely world-class goals that nobody out there can score. Nobody on our side, for me. He makes them out of nothing. As McGeady's a close second. But, like, that free kick against Tranmere, sorry, was absolutely brilliant. Absolutely fantastic. Class. It was absolutely class. But then you have games of last couple of games where he's just been off the ball. Against Portsmouth, scored 2 goals. Absolutely fantastic game that was for Chris Maguire. I want to see more from the Maguire, more from the King. Has he got it in his locker to do it week in, week out with Jack Ross? He was dropped for a while back in the middle of last season. He went off the boil, but he came back strong. He has it, you know, he has it to turn a game. Has he lost it a little bit this season? He's lost it over the last couple of games. He missed a great opportunity to put this game to bed today. You can't always take your opportunities. We're only human. I know that. We're only human. So I'm going to give Chris Maguire, I'm going to give him a 6.5. I'm not going to give him a 7 because he hasn't been great the whole season. He hasn't been on fire the whole season. I'm not going to give him a 6 because he hasn't like been under the weather or under the radar. He's had some good games and some poor games. And when he has a poor game, the team suffers. When someone like Chris Maguire and Aidan McGeady have really poor games, our side suffers big time. So we need them both to come up now. Step up to the plate for Phil Parkinson. Phil Parkinson needs Chris Maguire and Aidan McGeady more than ever at this moment in time. Duncan Watmore is one of the highest paid players at Sunderland Football Club, and he's been injury prone. We all know he's really brittle, the most intelligent player at Sunderland Football Club, and he's an absolutely fantastic ambassador to Sunderland Football Club, a lovely lad, but he's been injury prone. We need to keep Duncan Watmore really fit, really fresh and on fire, because he has the key to unlock defences. He is one of the players out there who can unlock defences for Sunderland Football Club. And if we can get him further forward, he can score goals as well. But we need him fit. He needs to get game time. And he needs, to be honest, to do what he's done in the past. You know, he played in the Premier League, he's played in the Championship. Now he's in League One. He's in the right level, or just below his best level, I would say. So Duncan Watmore, so far this season, you know, on what he's played, he had a great game against Tranmere, like most Sunderland players did. I'll give him a 7. 6.5, 7 for Duncan Watmore. I think there's bags more to come. If we can keep him fit, he's going to be like a new player for Sunderland Football Club. He can unlock defences, be an absolute fantastic asset. And Phil Parkinson hopefully can find the best from Duncan Watmore. Now I'm going to move on to Lyndon Gooch. He's been, unfortunately, since that, absolutely the best game I've seen him play for Sunderland in a long time was against Tranmere. It was absolutely awesome, and he has stepped up to the plate under Phil Parkinson. He's one of the players, just off that game I've seen alone, I could genuinely see it. He has come on, stepped up to the plate, and he's doing his bit. And he wasn't over greedy that game. It's just so annoying, so frustrating. We've lost him soon after that, because if he could produce that game in, game out, we have an asset on our hands, like a new player. Really, he gets in the box. He's got a bit of speed. He knows he's got a good footballing brain for me, Gooch. He does overtake the ball in the past and try to be like Messi. We all know that. But when he cuts that out, and I think Phil Parkinson will show him the way this season. We need him back fit and strong and raring to go. We really need Lyndon Gooch back. For me, Lyndon Gooch, I'm going to give him I'm only going to go for the one game for Phil Parkinson. And for me, under Phil Parkinson that day, it was a 7.5. 7.5, because Gooch was absolutely brilliant. Now we're going to go over to one of my favourite players. I don't think Luke O'Nien is the most skillful player in the world. You can't say he's the most skillful player in the world. He isn't the biggest player in the world, isn't the tallest player in the world. But if I could have a 10, he'd get a 10 for passion, determination, the want, the will, the drive, the love for the club, the fans' favourite. For me, if Luke O'Nien, if I was just scoring on the want and the will and the passion and the personality and the person himself, he would get a 10. I haven't even wrote a 10 up because no one deserves a 10, but just for that alone, he would get a 10. But it's not just that. You can't just win football games on that alone. You need to have some skill. And he has got abundance of skill and ability, and he gives it everything. He wears his heart on his sleeve, and he scored a couple of decent goals. That header against Southend was absolutely... He put his head there when there was players kicking about. Could have kicked him in the head. You don't see Will Grigg doing that. That was absolutely amazing. And I'm going to put him up there just because... we can never leave him out the squad. I'm giving him an 8. An 8. He's up there with Lee Burge. And because Lee Burge has done a solid job, if we go off, like I said before, the love for the club, the love for the fans, the personality, and everything to go with it, he'd be up there. But he gets an 8. So, Luke O'Nien, you're doing an absolutely fantastic job. You're one of the stars, one of the shining stars at this moment in time in Sunderland Football Club. If you had better players around you, you'd raise your game even more. I'm sure of that. I'm sure there's more to come from Luke O'Nien. We just need some better players to be brought in to see the best from this lad. Absolutely world class. Sorry, I'm going over the top there. World class is a bit over the top. I know it is really over the top, but he's a fantastic player, Luke O'Nien. I know I won't fit all the players in this video. I'm just going to do like the players, the main items, the main squad players, And next we're going to go for Mark McNulty. And Mark McNulty, I think, again, when he first came into the side under Jack Ross, he never gave up a lost cause. Brilliant. Another low-knee player with injuries. He has his issues, or he wouldn't be with Sunderland Football Club in League One. But Mark McNulty, for me, is one of the players we have to keep fit. He has to stay injury free. He's been out of the squad twice already. He's been coming really good and then gets injured. Coming on fantastic and then gets injured. Scored that goal early on against Rotherham. Then he went off towards the end and wasn't seen for a while. And he picked up another injury. So if this is a hamstring injury, it's going to reoccur all the time, unless, especially in the winter now with the cold nights, the muscles need to be kept warm. You need to be kept fresh, kept fit. Or you're going to pick up injuries. Players like him who wants to, impact players, burst of speed. You walk along and you're running really fast. That's when you pick up your hamstring injuries. I've had them myself. They're absolutely awful to get rid of. And I still suffer today for them. I go out for a run now and my back and my hamstrings still suffer today. So Mark McNulty, for me, I'm going to give him a 7 because he's had his great games and he's been played sparingly at this moment in time under Phil Parkinson. Is it because he's not 100% or Phil Parkinson? He doesn't fit into what Phil Parkinson wants. This 3-2, this 4-2-3-1 system, which I kind of get my head around. He can't play two strikers. So if that's the case, he's going to be on the bench until Will Grigg finally gets dropped. But there we go. I'm giving Matt McNulty a 7 for the persistence against Ipswich to get us that point, to get us a point against Rotherham. And there was other games to boot. So for me, the potential there, if he stays fit, is going to be an absolute fantastic asset for the rest of this season. Matt McNulty, you're that good, somebody even sung a song about you. Right, now we go on to the biggest question in the world. Every Sunderland fan is thinking about this. Every footballer, let's face it, every fan in the country is wondering what has happened to Will Grigg. Where is the real Will Grigg gone? He isn't that old. Again, he's been carrying injuries. We bought him with an injury from Wigan, and apparently he was injured all last season. And someone was still saying he's got a niggle now. So if that's the case, he shouldn't have been played. He should have been replaced in January. We should have got somebody in then, apart from Matt McNulty, to help this lad out, Will Grigg. Now, I'm a Gemini. Apparently, I'm the twins. I've got 2 split personalities, and this is a bit like Will Grigg. For me, he's a Gemini, isn't he? You've got Will Grigg, who against all the goals he scored for Wigan and for Ireland, and you got Will Grigg, who against Southend, when everything was going good, everything was rosy in the garden, the team was flying, he was up for the challenge. He was there, forefront, giving everything. Then you got the Will Grigg early on in the season in Southend, when things aren't going good, when things aren't fantastic, when you're struggling to get a result. Is he actually there giving 110%? Is he giving everything? So which Will Grigg? And also, are we giving Will Grigg any service? He needs the ball to his feet. He needs the ball played in the right place. Have we got the talent in our side to give Will Grigg the service? Max Power did it for Wigan. But is there anybody in our squad, in our team, that can give Will Grigg the correct service for him to start scoring the goals? Or has he just completely lost it? Like someone said to me before, some players do not fit into some teams, and does Will Grigg just not fit into Sunderland Football Club? Will he ever get it back, the Will Grigg on fire? They made a song about him. He was that good. Where has it gone? It's been put out. It's been extinguished. Can he get it back? At this moment in time, I'm really doubting. I watched them against Southend, and just the lack of want, the lack of motivation. That it didn't look that he wanted to be on the pitch. I may be doing him a disservice. It just didn't look like he wanted to wear the Sunderland shirt in 1 or 2 of these games this season. And if that's the case, he gets a 1. Just for that kind of attitude alone. He gets a 1 for the attitude. But some people just don't have that kind of... Some people just look that way when they're playing. They just don't look as if they're interested, but they really are. I don't know what's going on through his head. I don't talk to the man. So I'm probably giving him a disservice by saying a 1. And I won't give him a 1. But that's the way it comes across on some games. And then against Tranmere, a match when he was on fire, playing really well. He looked really good. You know, a little flick against the post. Absolutely fantastic. You'd give him a 7, wouldn't you? That's the kind of, that's what you want to say from Will Grigg. But which is the real Will Grigg? Will we ever find the real Will Grigg? I don't know where he's gone. Will! Where you at, Will? Now, if I found him under my bed, I think I would probably... I'd have nightmares. But seriously, what's happened to the real Will Grigg? And at this moment in time, I can't give him any more just on the season itself than a 4. I'm sorry, Will Grigg. You need to step up the plate. You need to show the fans that you want to be on that park. You need to put some, have a good look at Luke 09, Will Grigg, and look what Luke 09 brings to the table. And you try and find what he has. Get 50% of what Luke 09's got. Bottle it up. Put it in a glass of water. Drink it. Come on the pitch, and you'll be an 8 because you'll make goals. You've got to make things happen. So Will Grigg, we wish you all the best. Every Sunderland fan out there, we want Will Grigg to succeed. But is he? That's the $1 million question. I don't know if he's going to succeed at Sunderland Football Club. Right, so I've been through plenty, and we got Charlie Wyke as well. Yes, we got Charlie Wyke. For me, again, I've met him in the fan zone, and he's absolutely a wonderful man. I don't want to slate anybody off at all. who plays football. They all doing. I know they must be doing the best because they're wearing the shirt. They want to play best football. He's been in League Two before. Is League One and League Two high for Charlie White? I'm afraid. I think it is. You know, I wish him all the best in his life. He can go out and win the Euro Millions or whatever, but I just don't think he is made for League One, pardon me, or even the Championship. So for this moment in time, for what I've seen from Charlie White this season, and I wish him a speedy recovery, and I hope you come back, and I hope Phil Parkinson gets the best out of you, and you can score a hat-trick on your first game back. But for me, you're only getting a 3 on the performance so far this season. Charlie White, I said I wish you all the best. Now we move on to Phil Parkinson. Phil Parkinson's come to Sunderland Football Club, and expectations for me are high. I want to see Phil Parkinson. He's done it, and I'm not gonna judge Phil Parkinson on what he's done so far, because these are Jack Ross's players. Players have been at the club for a while as well, and January is going to come around with the investment. We get 1 or 2 decent players in January, and we might see a better squad. We might see a better organisation. You might start playing 4-4-2. You might start playing 4-3-3. You might start playing all these different formations, have 2 up front, and we might start scoring some, plenty of goals and winning the games of football. We did score 5 against Tranmere, so it's not all doom and gloom. We did lose the first one against Wigan, and we lost the one against Shrewsbury when we had 1,000,000 shots on target. So Phil Parkinson for me, and I'm just going off today's match. Off today's match, I can't see any difference between Jack Ross being in and leaving and Phil Parkinson coming in and leaving. It's like they're the same person of this game. And I haven't really, apart from Tranmere, where we stuffed a bad side 5-0, I haven't seen anything exciting from Phil Parkinson at this moment in time. It's like Jack Ross, Phil Parkinson blurred into one, and it's like the same kind of manager for me at this moment in time. But I haven't seen enough of Phil Parkinson, and I haven't, I'm never going to be able to speak to Phil Parkinson, and we won't know what Phil Parkinson brings to Sunderland Football Club until he gets his own players in, or some players in January. And we all wish him all the best, and we hope we can only improve, because yes, it's the same squad of players. It's the players who are going to raise the game and help Phil Parkinson succeed at Sunderland Football Club. So there we go. I'm going to give Phil a 7 at this moment in time. So hope you enjoyed the video. Please subscribe to the channel, please give this a like, and hopefully for the rest of the season, Phil Parkinson can get this team improved, and we can go on to finish in the top 6 at worst. Right, thanks a lot. I'll catch you later.